Okay, so in this video, as promised, we're going to be continuing our discussion on scientific and exponential notation. And if we want to convert a number that's in exponential notation or scientific notation to ordinary decimal form, it's really easy. All we need to do is perform the indicated multiplication. So you can do this with a scientific calculator, all right, that you should have for this class. You can, I did it just a second ago on my iPhone. So what you're basically going to do, you're going to multiply 2.28 here times 10 to the negative 5. You're going to plug that in your calculator, and it should give you the answer. It should represent it in ordinary decimal form. And again, I hope you're practicing putting these numbers in your calculator, so I shouldn't explain that, but it's usually for the calculator you have, it might be something like an EE button that would give you the exponent that you can put in the negative 5. But plug this into your calculator, all right, and you're just going to get the answer, okay? So it's going to be 0.0000228. Okay, is that right? Yes. So this is the answer I got. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what you should get. Just doing the indicated multiplication, you should get this number. Okay? So practice with that, become familiar with it. If you have any trouble, you could reach out to me. There's other ways you could do this without a calculator too. Basically everything we said in the last video, you're kind of just doing it in reverse. Okay, so I didn't want to go over all of that because it might be a little confusing. Okay, I think it's easier for you to just do the indicated multiplication so you're not confused about rules that I'm saying in the previous video and getting mixed up. All right, but this is, again, the easiest way I think you can do it. And let's just do it a few more examples together so that you can get the hang of it and plugging these things into your calculator. Okay, so here's a few problems. Write each of the following numbers in ordinary decimal form. Okay, so ordinary decimal form. So again, you're going to just plug these in your calculator. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So this, I believe, is going to be 0.0000531. Okay? And one of the ways you could check, actually, double check, is the number you get, just reverse it. Do the steps that we talked about in the first two videos and try to put it back in exponential notation. And that will give you practice, but it'll also let you check to see if your calculator did it right, or if you typed it in your calculator, I should say, correctly. Okay, so this number is going to be 4513, okay? This number here is going to be 0.602. Okay, and this number is going to be I believe that's right. Yes. Okay. So those aren't sixes, those are zeros. All right, so again, this is how we can go. Just put it in your calculator, type it in, you should just get the answer. And then to check again, go back through and convert the number back to exponential notation. So for example, if I take this decimal place here, I'll just do one of these, and I move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. Okay, so it's 5.31 times, I moved it over 5 places, I moved it over 5 places to the right, so that is a negative exponent, negative 5, and that's the number I got. All right, so again, this is just a way to get you familiar with using your calculator and in converting between numbers and understanding exponential notation. Okay, so continuing on the theme of using our calculator in this class, we want to look into multiplication, division, and subtraction in scientific notation. And if these are just the rules, so you could double check your work. But again, you're just going to be using a calculator for this throughout the semester. So don't tune me out. Just know the rules so that you can understand and check your work. So if you're multiplying, you could read it up there. But if you're multiplying, you basically add the exponents. Okay, the sum of the exponents. If you're dividing, okay, the denominator exponent is subtracted from the numerator exponent. Okay, so in other words, if I had a or 10 times the power of 2 times 10 to the power of 3, this is 10 to the 2 plus 3, okay, which is 10 to the 5. Okay, same idea here. If I had 10 to the 2 divided by 10 to the 3, this is 10 to the 2 minus 3, or 10 raised to negative 1. Okay, so you're going to do this in your calculator, but this is a good way to double check your work, see if it makes sense. So to add or subtract the exponents, the exponential numbers without a calculator, you need to align the digit values. So you basically align the decimal points and align all your numbers, and it gets kind of annoying, but it's there so you know it. Okay, and you can look in your textbook for more examples. They go through how to do this without a calculator in more detail. But like I said, you're going to be using a calculator to do this. So here's a few examples I want you to get familiar with in plugging these into your calculator and getting the answers. Okay, so pause the video. Again, this is to familiarize us with multiplying exponential numbers. And if you have trouble as you're doing this, feel free to reach out to me, all right, and I'd be happy to help you. Might be just an issue with you getting used to your calculator, and that's totally fine. That happens. All right, so let's see. Hopefully the numbers I have written down here are correct. If not, that would be pretty bad. I'll probably check them after I'm doing this video, and if they're wrong, I'll record another video. But I plugged them in my calculator earlier today. So 0.2 times 10 to the 10. That's what I got. And notice 10 obviously is 4 plus 6, which is what we see here, 4 and 6. So we know we did it right. Okay, so if you got that answer, you plugged in your calculator right. This is 2.06 times 10 to the 2. And again, notice 6 minus 4 is 2. So that's our little double check that will help us, I think. All right, so this is 3.973 times 10 to the 7th. Okay, and so again, to add or subtract without a calculator, you align the digit values, doesn't matter. Again, this is automatically done in the calculator, and I'll talk to you about why I rounded this number later. Okay, if you plug in your calculator, you may have had a slightly different result here, but these are the numbers I got for plugging it in. And that concludes, I believe, our discussion on exponential and scientific notation. So in the next section, we're going to be talking about dimensional analysis or unit conversion, which is probably one of the most important chapters we're going to cover in this class. Believe it or not, you're going to use it quite a lot. So stay tuned, and that's our next video.